So thank you everyone for joining. We're excited to share what is 21 BTC to everyone here. For those who don't know, 21 BTC has launched on last Thursday, which is 30th of May. It is a wrapped Bitcoin on Solana, and we launched it with our dearest partner, FlowTraders, as well as Solana Foundation. And in the meantime, a lot of different Solana native protocols as well, including Radium, Orca, Switchbot, Chainlink, so on and so forth. And I'm your host today. My name is Tom. I'm the BD&Strategy at 21 Co. And today we have our dearest partner from Solana Foundation, Ben, and FlowTraders, Jurgen, and as well as our very own Krish from the product team. And today we'll be explaining what is 21 BTC, as well as all the strategy and cool stuff we have been building. And without further ado, I would like to first invite Krish to share and introduce about himself, as well as what is 21 Co. What do we do? And the floor is yours, Krish.
Perfect. Thank you, Tom. Hello, everyone. So my name is Krishna, and I also go by Krish. I run tech products here at 21 Co. So what is 21 Co? 21 Co is the parent company, and our goal is very simple. We want to bridge TradFi and DeFi products. So how do we do that? We have different ways of achieving it. We have 21 Shares, which is a crypto asset management business, hovering around 7 billion assets AUM globally. And then we have tech product lines such as Onyx. So Onyx is a digital asset platform which is used for issuance and operational management for ETFs and tokens. And today we're most excited to talk about our wrapped assets or 21 Co tokens line, which is 21 BTC. So primarily, we'll get more into that in detail, but hopefully this gives the context on 21 Co and us.
Thank you, Krish. Jurgen, do you want to go next?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Ben. Thank you very much for having me here today. I'm Jurgen. I'm focused on strategic partnerships within FlowTraders, within the digital asset unit. First, allow me to thank both 21 Co and the Solana Foundation for this great partnership. A little bit of background on FlowTraders. We are a global multi-asset liquidity provider. We focus on fixed income, equities, precious metals, foreign exchange, commodities. In 2017, we moved into digital assets. There we focus on centralized exchange trading, also on decentralized exchange trading. And in that capacity, we also support projects which are going for listing on those respective exchanges where we actually provide liquidity for them.
Thank you, Jurgen. And Ben, the floor is yours.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Ben from the Solana Foundation here. The goal of the Solana Foundation is to just support the growth and decentralization of the Solana platform. I specifically focus on financial use cases, interfacing with DeFi, institutional payments, and everything in between. Very excited to see the launch of 21 BTC on Solana and see how that impacts DeFi growth.
Thank you, Ben. Before we dive deeper into more in-depth details and share some alphas of 21 BTC, I would like to invite Krish again to share what is 21 BTC at a high level so that everyone is on the same page and know what is 21 BTC and why we're building this exciting product as well.
Thank you, Don. Yeah, so I think just to take a step back, Bitcoin has proven itself to be a store of value. And our goal here in 21 Co is how do we make wrapped assets available? And 21 BTC is a pretty strong proponent of that. So 21 BTC is our native Solana token. What it does is it helps you get native access to Bitcoin on the Solana platform or the Solana ecosystem. How does it differentiate? So what are some of the key things about 21 BTC? One is there's no lock and mint technology around this. So we have used our operational experience of what we do in TradFi in a very centralized way, and we use the same operational experience to make this available for our wrapped assets as well. I'm sure we'll chat a little more about bridges and so forth later, but the intent is very clear. We want to make sure that whatever collateral you have or underlying you have is in institutional grade custody, secure in cold storage, and the equivalent wrapped asset or the 21 BTC token is made available. So next is once you make the wrapped asset available, where do you go from there? The intent is working with some of our great partners here on the call is to make sure that there is deep liquidity available. And I won't steal their thunder, so I'll let them talk a little about that. And last but not the least, again, our focus is very clear. We want to make sure what we provide is secure and through institutional grade custody, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that when anyone from compliance takes a look at it, they feel confident in terms of the technology usage that we are using, and they align with it.
This is really awesome, Krish. I really agree on your point on institutional grade security is very important, especially with our product 201 BTC. We are wrapping the largest Bitcoin on different blockchains right now. However, I'm sure a lot of us here has a question. Why Solana, and what synergies do you see between Bitcoin and Solana? And I'm sure Ben and Jurgen, you guys have some thought on it. Who do you want to start first?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I'm happy to take this one. I think if we look at Bitcoin and Solana and compare the two blockchains first, then Bitcoin has, of course, accumulated a large investor base. However, if you look at it from a transaction speed perspective or in terms of transaction fees, then the transactions per second which it can support are relatively low. And the fees which you pay on a transaction on the Bitcoin network are relatively high. If you then look at the Solana ecosystem, then the transactions per second it can handle are significantly higher compared to Bitcoin, and the fees are also a fraction of it. Then if you basically bridge this back to 21 BTC, then I would almost want to make a comparison for 21 BTC as like a utility token, where effectively you could use it in the same way as you normally get a mortgage on your house. So imagine you go to a bank, you apply for a mortgage, you want to buy a house, then you put up that house as collateral with the bank. Now, if you take that same comparison back to 21 BTC, then you can effectively use 21 BTC in the on-chain credit market, where you can use 21 BTC as collateral and then take out a loan in, for example, a stablecoin or any other given asset. Why is this relevant? I think if you draw the parallel to the Ethereum ecosystem, there you see that WBTC has close to 11 billion in total value locked. That's quite interesting because it's mainly used on the on-chain credit markets there. While if you look at the user base from a DeFi point of view, then Solana has overtaken the number of active addresses from Ethereum since last year. So we see this as the missing link for the overall Solana DeFi ecosystem for further growth.
Exactly. I think Jurgen made a really good point. Solana has been a growing ecosystem. It has crushed all the metrics in terms of fees, DAX volume, number of users, number of transactions. It is all very exciting. But why is a Bitcoin solution important to Solana? As you mentioned, Jurgen, it can be leveraged into different lending markets. It can be leveraged into DeFi opportunities as well. But Ben, from your perspective, what can we do more, and what synergies do you see further between Bitcoin and Solana as well?
I think the most important thing here is that you give people access to Bitcoin as collateral on a trading platform where it's easy and cost efficient to trade. So the Solana DeFi ecosystem has grown significantly in the last year. I think that's because of the trading experience that you can get here that you can't get on other blockchains. And to what Jurgen was saying, the importance of having this facility for people to maintain their long positions on Bitcoin, because we have multi-year horizons on where we think Bitcoin is going to be in the future. And you don't want to sell that for short-term cash needs. But the prior way in which you would get Bitcoin-backed loans really fell apart back in 2022 with the collapse of lenders like Genesis and Celsius. And there was just poor mismanagement of the collateral backend. And so when you can introduce a Bitcoin product fully on chain in a way that you can have confidence in the underlying system and not be worried about something failing like a centralized institution, I think that's huge for the growth of this type of trade and this type of asset class.
Great point, Ben. Thank you very much. And on the next point, I would like to touch on what differentiate 21 BTC from other wrapped Bitcoin solutions, because Solana currently, we also have different types of Bitcoin wrappers as well, such as Wormhole's wrap Bitcoin, as well as Threshold Bitcoin. Krish, why are we building 21 BTC, and why are you guys, or why are we 21 BTC are differentiating ourselves from other competitors in the market?
I think, look, we're all big fans of smart contracts, and we're all big fans of bridges that have occurred in the past and so forth. But the reality is there is a lot of exploitation that takes place. And at the end of the day, this is collateral that we want to make sure that we are safekeeping. So we went a different path. which is ensuring that first through our Onyx platform, we are actually KYCing the merchants that are minting and burning the tokens. And once you get the collateral, that's the only time when we start minting and burning. So at that particular point, there is no case or scenario where you have minted more than needed. So that's really what we call in terms of being 100% physically backed when we look at it. I think the other parts in terms of it is also we use a third-party custodian. In terms of we use institutional custodians who are helping us safekeep that as well. So there are multiple people in there that are using the right protocols and so forth to make sure we safekeep. So we took these two features and factors pretty importantly, and that's how we see ourselves differentiating, because there may be people who like going decentralized. That's fine, happy for them. But we wanted to take a different path where people are happy with looking at a more centralized way in which there is trust and safety.
I think institutions going back on the table, institution definitely gives a lot of people some confidence on our product. But in the meantime, Solana previously also suffered from some type of institutions collapsing, and due to the fact that they're not building a reliable Bitcoin solution, naming FTX's Solar Bitcoin. And therefore, institution might not guarantee 100% high quality product. But in order to prove that, 21 Code team have built out a Dune Analytics dashboard, as well as provide as much transparency to everyone in the community to track the custodian address to ensure there will always be 100% Bitcoin backing 21 BTC. So for those who are interested, feel free to check out the 21 Code Twitter account. We recently released a 21 BTC Dune Analytics dashboard, and we value transparency a lot internally as well. And Jurgen, I would also like to get your take. What makes FlowTraders want to partner with 21 BTC? As Krish mentioned, you guys want to build out an institutional product as well, right?
Yes, yeah, and 100% agree with what Krish just mentioned. We feel it's highly important to have institutional grade custodian involved here. We have also recognized that having bridges within the ecosystem, it's something which is often used, but they are vulnerable for hacks. And that's also what we've seen in the past with several multi-hundred million hacks. Therefore, we deem this wrapped version of Bitcoin on Solana much safer, and therefore also much more fit for institutions to use across the entire Solana DeFi ecosystem.
Exactly. One quick fact is, if you go to DeFi Llama, you will see the amount of breached hacks that has happened since 2021 has reached $2.8 billion. So breach assets or breach solutions might not always be the best solution for having a wrapper on the ecosystem. And after giving an overview of what is 21 BTC, we can move to the next session, because now we want to dive deeper into the partnership between 21 Co, Solana Foundation, and FlowTraders. And with this partnership, it definitely shows that 21 BTC emphasizes a lot on ecosystem integration, liquidity, as well as security. I would like to come back to you, Jurgen, again. Can you quickly explain the concept of liquidity? Because ultimately, to build up a nice product to be adopted widely across the ecosystem, liquidity is very important. Can you share why liquidity is important for the adoption of 21 BTC?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Tom. We deem liquidity very important for any financial market to function, whether it be is in traditional finance markets or, for example, equities, and also in crypto. We generally try to draw the comparison with an apples market. So imagine, Tom, you and I were standing on an apple market today. You want to buy 5 apples from me, but I'm only holding 2 apples. So there's a natural mismatch in that respect. So you can't access proper liquidity there. You can't execute the full transaction size. By instructing a transaction of 5 apples while I can only sell 2, that also has an immediate price impact. So that's why we think that it's highly important to create liquid markets and creating sufficient depth also in that market. If you turn it the other way around and you come to me, and if you want to sell 5 apples to me, I'm only willing to buy maybe 2 apples. So there again, in also the buy and sell mechanics, it's really important to have sufficient depth in the order books in general. Otherwise, investors might get stuck in positions. They have a negative impact with regards to pricing, which increases. And what we see in general is that having sufficient liquidity also attracts investors towards products.
Understood. That's a really good point too. Having liquidity essentially is meaning bridging the demand with the supply, which is very important, because if you want to sell as you mentioned, sell 5 Apple stocks, but then no one's going to buy it. It doesn't mean that the Apple stock that I am selling worth the amount that I'm asking, right? Essentially, it has to meet the demand of what the investors really want. And the next point I would like to get to Ben, because recently you guys have really exciting announcement, namely the PayPal integration with PayPal Pi USD. And then you guys also previously announced Visa and Shopify. And recently we also have one of the most exciting announcement, the 21 Co with FlowTraders launching 21 BTC. How do you think the institutional adoption benefit the Solana ecosystem as a whole? And do you see this trend continue growing in the future as well?
I do. Yeah, it's super exciting to see. Finally, it feels like things are starting to bend in the direction of the crypto industry, both in the United States and abroad. So I'm excited for more experimentation from institutions like PayPal and others that we have coming later this year. I think that it's the next step in the maturation of the crypto ecosystem that large institutions are going to start using these products as a core part of their business, and that more people are going to have access to tokenized products as well. So this is just the next step in making sure that we can build this fully on-chain, transparent, decentralized future where we can have more efficient markets and more access for people all over the globe. So very excited to see, and 21 BTC is just the next iteration in a long path forward.
I see you touch on the point on tokenization, and definitely institutions right now are focusing a lot on tokenization. And it would be great for the audience to understand that recently you guys, the PYUSD, not only launched in collaboration with the Solana Foundation, but it's also leveraging the token extension, which also allows a lot of different functions, including some compliant functions, allowing PYUSD to be more compliant, such as allowing them to burn, to seize the funds if it is being hacked. And they allows also different types of cool features like transfer hooks, confidential transfer, so on and so forth. And now it's time to go back to Krish. I would like to dive into who are the partners of 21 BTC and why is partnership benefiting 21 BTC to grow in the future?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I think it's a great question. If you look at it, just taking a step back again, our intent is how do we enable folks who want to put their Bitcoin to use? There is a lot of L2 work happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem. However, when we were trying to look at the optionality, I think what's important for us is time and cost. And what better partners to work with than Solana, who's high throughput and low cost, and making it available to the high user base in the ecosystem. So that was pretty straightforward for us in the decision making. And then the second step was, okay, step one, let's make it available in the right ecosystem. Step two, how do you make sure we have deep liquidity? And that's exactly why we have FlowTraders as well, who have proven their deep expertise in the space to do that. Once that's done, we want to continue to ensure that users are able to swap, and they are able to do that with our partners, Orca and Radium. And then at some point, we want to ensure that we are even able to get to lending, which is a pretty big use case that we are seeing right now. And we're working with folks like Camino Finance in making that available. The last but not the least, just from the infrastructure part, pricing is everything in the terms of wrapped assets. So we wanted to make sure that we're working with Switchboard and in the long run, partners like Chainlink to make sure that the price is as accurate as possible in terms of what we have there. And last but not the least is also our security. So we did work with Halburn in ensuring that what we have in terms of the token and our infrastructure is fully attested as per their security protocols. So it takes a village to get there, and we're happy to work with each and every one to make this available.
Awesome. So to the audience here, to Krish's point is, even though Wrap Bitcoin, it seems like a boring product or a straightforward product, but underneath it, it involves a lot of technicalities as well as a lot of partnership security in order to build a great product as well. And finally, I would like to have a final question to Jurgen as well. Being an institution or being one of the leading market makers in the institutional traditional finance space as well, how do you think the institutional appetite is towards Solana right now? Because you guys are one of the leading institutions also entering into Solana DeFi ecosystem right now. And how do you think this landscape could change in the future as well?
Yeah, I think what Ben highlighted was already really important. If you look at the partnerships which Solana has recently closed in the traditional finance markets, being it in payments, being it in other use cases, that really showcases their ability to execute. It shows that their tech stack is really solid with regards to the transactions which it can handle, the fact that it handles with lower fees. Therefore, financial markets can be readily deployed also on the Solana ecosystem. So we see there that the possibilities are endless effectively for the Solana ecosystem to grow. I don't want to, of course, put Ben on the spot, but I think there are still many use cases which are still yet to be developed there. But I trust that the Solana Foundation has those all on their radar.
Awesome. So one closing thought for Ben, Krish, and Jurgen. What is next for 21BTC, or what do you expect from 21BTC or Solana? If you can give the audience here some alpha and exciting announcement that could be coming up, it would be very great to hear for the audiences as well. Krish, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I can. If you want, I can go first. So I think two things. One is we continue making 21BTC available through our distribution partners. The more the use cases, the more the adoption, the better the usage. And that's really what we're trying to strive for and be able to get to. I think from a technology standpoint, we are pretty excited about token extensions in the long run. The features like permanent delegate and transfer hooks and so forth is exactly aligned in terms of it. So we are going to continue keeping an eye on that as well. And when the time is right and when there is mass adoption, we'll make sure that we are the first to jump into that. So that's primarily what we are looking at from a very tech standpoint.
Awesome. Thank you, Krish. Hey, Jurgen, how about we go next with you?
Yes, thank you, Tom. I think if you look at 21BTC short term, there's a massive use case in the on-chain borrowing and lending market. Then if you look back further, then it can also be used across, for example, centralized exchanges to use as collateral. So we see there the possibilities for using a stable asset like this really relevant.
Awesome. Ben, I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts regarding 21BTC as well as the Solana ecosystem as a whole as well.
Yeah, so I think that the work begins now. I think it's very important for all of the DeFi protocols to be integrating 21BTC markets and to be growing on-chain liquidity. At the same time, 21BTC needs to be listed on more exchanges across the globe. That is the thing that is going to create the liquidity benefits that we anticipate coming from this product. And once it's largely liquid across DEXs and centralized exchanges, we'll then be able to see the value that it provides to the end user and to the traders on top of the Solana platform.
Awesome. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure to listening to all the alphas as well as the introduction from Krish, Jurgen, and Ben. And now it's the time to open up for the question to the audiences. And I would like to quickly ask a question that has been commented on the space. So I think this is a question for you, Krish. So the question is, are there any plans to migrate from Solana to the BRC20 standard or to develop your own blockchain for 21BTC?
Great question. I want to make sure my product team is not listening to this, otherwise we'll be committing towards it. The intent is today we do have 21BTC available, not just on Solana, but also in an ERC20 format. But for us, how we make the decision is we look at these ecosystems as a way of users and platforms or ecosystems. We want to make sure that we have 21BTC available for the right use cases where the ecosystems are supporting it in the right way. And so we take those decisions very carefully and in consideration. In terms of protocol, it really has to make sense. In being able to do that, we try to find a more centralized, because safety and security and trust is something that we look forward to. We want to make sure that it really aligns with what we're doing before we make decisions. Do we want to go down the path of protocol and so forth? So I don't want to overcommit something. We want to see where the market interest is and then build on that to help the users.
Thank you very much for the answer, Krish. I think recently there's a huge debate across Ethereum versus Solana. Solana has been an up-and-coming layer one ecosystem, has been crushing in a lot of metrics, including one of the most important metrics to measure the profitability of the network as well, including fees and MEV. As Krish mentioned, 21BTC is not only on Solana, but also on Ethereum. Ben, maybe you can speak a little bit on it. What would be the key differentiator of Solana versus in Ethereum, and how can 21BTC benefit from the maybe fast settlement as well as low cost of Solana?
Yeah, you named it right there. Those are the primary benefits. So Solana is basically has all of the composability benefits of Ethereum layer 1, allowing DeFi to compose with NFT protocols or DePIN or anything else that's built on the layer 1, while it all scales at the base layer while providing a low cost and high throughput environment. That is where Solana differentiates. And when it comes to a product like 21BTC, and for traders, that is the experience that they are used to. There's definitely still some work to be done on optimizing throughput and making sure that costs are low. And the end goal is to have it comparable with a centralized order book. So there's definitely a lot to work on. The ecosystem is working hard on it. There's a ton of core developers across the ecosystem now, across like the Jito team or the Margin team or the Anza team, Fire Dancer. So there's a ton of people working on optimizing performance of the base network, which will only provide benefits to traders and users in the long run.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the alpha. And it shows that 21BTC launching on Solana is definitely a good place to launch and can definitely benefit from the thriving ecosystem as well as the talented community within the developer space as well as protocols as well. And before we have the audiences asking some more questions, I would like to ask Jurgen another question because Jurgen, you mentioned we already have a wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum, which is pretty huge as well. Right now, I think they have around 10 billion TVL on Ethereum. And Ethereum also is a pretty large network. It's around 60 billion TVL. And for 21BTC, being an institutional grade wrapper of Bitcoin on Solana, how do you see it can grow in the next 5 years together with Solana in terms of TVL or number of users, any metrics that you're interested in sharing?
Yes, thank you, Tom. That's a very interesting question. I think if you look at it from a user perspective, then Solana has already overtaken the number of users on the decentralized finance space from Ethereum since end of last year. Currently, there's no real institutional grade wrapped Bitcoin available on Solana. So we think that this is really a missing link for TVL there also to really pick up. So we're eager to see how this will develop. We would like to see indeed the teams like Camino Finance to really enable 21BTC as collateral on the on-chain lending market. That would be a really great development to see from our perspective.
Awesome. And this is something we have been working really hard on to get it integrated with different lending marketplaces, definitely the leading ones, including Margin Try, Camino Finance, Solan. It would be exciting to see how we integrate with more Solana protocols in the coming months. And we also have another question from the audience. So I think this is a question to Krish again. So the question, is it similar to how USDC integrates with multiple chains?
Yes, in the long run, that is exactly, we see that as a trusted model. It's adopted by institutions, and we want to continue looking at that in a very similar fashion. There are various ways in terms of ensuring that there is cross messaging taking place, either through, you can look at CCIP or CCTP. This is what really Circle uses as well. So we are keeping an eye on that, and we want to make sure that at the end of the day, our first goal is we want to make sure that as our main thing is make sure the asset that is available, which is 21BTC, is fully optimized in the Solana ecosystem. So that will continue to be the case where we are making it available in different distribution forms. And then we will start looking at how do we ensure that any cross-chain related use cases can also be taken place. But yes, the short answer is yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ben, Jurgen, and Krish for coming on to the Twitter space and share a lot of alphas and introduction about 21BTC. And to the audiences, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to 21Co, me, Ben, Krish, as well as Jurgen and Carlos as the co-host to ask more about 21BTC as well as relevant questions as well. Thank you very much and hope you have a nice weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and shout out Tom and Carlos.